How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, where we're bringing Brabham back to the very top of Formula 1. In the last episode, with the Chinese Grand Prix, I felt like we really struggled through the corners particularly. On the straights it wasn't so bad, but I feel like we could do a lot better, and hopefully heading into the Zandvoort Grand Prix we can get a good result, and hopefully some of those upgrades that we've had coming through will come in and really help us out. Before we get started for this episode today, I want to tell everyone a story about the Zandvoort Grand Prix of 1966. My granddad Jack was 40 years of age, and a lot of teams, press and drivers were saying he was way too old to be in Formula 1. So, to show them and have a bit of a laugh at everyone who was sort of giving him a lot of stick, he decides to walk onto the grid with a long fake beard and a walking stick and hobbles to his car, and he goes and wins the 1966 Zandvoort Grand Prix and the 1966 World Championship at 40 years of age. Now it's time to get into the episode. Zandvoort Grand Prix, a brand new circuit for me to learn. I've never driven around it before, so hopefully we can get used to it in the practice programs and have a good race this time out. From practice, you see Verstappen 1.5 seconds quicker than everyone else on the grid. It's his home Grand Prix, so I'm not surprised. Mick did a great job in P16, and I was 22nd and last. I was only doing practice programs, obviously practice 1, but I made a massive mistake as we head into qualifying. In practice I used an old power unit and I forgot to swap that power unit out, which was completely my fault. I messed up, and yeah, the ICE was 95% worn going into qualifying, and I was struggling for pace so much, and I was wondering how on earth am I so slow? And it kind of makes sense after I realised what I'd done when I saw a power unit warning come up, that I basically just didn't swap them out, and it turned out that I was losing a huge amount, I can imagine, on the straights, getting on power and all sorts. I still wasn't quite happy with the balance. I had Hamilton right on me for one of those laps. See, 22nd and last after the first run. Mick in 20th, not bad, but normally we're quicker than him. So he's done a good job, but I felt like I was really struggling, and then at this point I realised that I'd really messed up and I didn't change the power units over, and as you can see I'm really struggling to try and find any time. I had to push so hard and then started to overdrive, and that then becomes a real problem, particularly around this circuit. It's a really fun circuit to drive, but if you start to overdrive, you can see 1.2 seconds, I was just driving like an idiot and it didn't work out. Hamilton from Bottas and Leclerc and Vettel. Mick Schumacher in 20th, and I didn't go any quicker as you saw, so P22 and last. As you can see here, I'm adding the extra power unit that we can bring into the team, but it is going to cost us grid penalties, so I believe it was a 60 place grid penalty as I added in each of these components. Just, I might as well, we're starting last anyway, it's not going to affect our starting position.
It was 35 years ago that the late great Niki Lauda took his 25th and final Grand Prix win here at Zandvoort. He came from 10th on the grid to beat his McLaren teammate Alain Prost by just 0.2 of a second. Well, Zandvoort is a very different circuit today, of course, but still one with an incredible legacy. And we're going to add to that. Welcome along to the 2020 Dutch Grand Prix. 4 lefts and 10 rights make up the 14 corners of the narrow and demanding Zandvoort circuit, with plenty of peaks and valleys over the course of a 2.6 mile lap, which will demand absolute concentration from our drivers here today. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Max Verstappen and Albon, Perez, Ricciardo, Sainz and Lance Stroll, Ocon, Kvyat, Kevin Magnussen and Gasly, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Lando Norris and Roman Grosjean, Russell, Latifi, Schumacher and Mr. Monaco. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
ready for the start of the Zandvoort Grand Prix. Now, as you would have heard before, I massively messed up, which completely my fault. I thought that I was going to do the practice programs on the Morborn power unit, but unfortunately I didn't change them for qualifying, so I decided to take a 60 place grid penalty. I started last anyway, so I might as well take it. Not going to lose out in any way. Mix obviously had to do something similar because he actually qualified ahead of Latifi. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how we go. Heading into the strategy, it's a one stop. I think I'm going to go soft, go really aggressive early on, and hopefully we can make our way up the grid as quickly as possible and then keep track position. It's not the best track for overtaking, so I think if we can get further up the grid as quickly as possible, then we've got a great chance of a good result here today. Ready for the start of the Zandvoort Grand Prix. 5 red lights. And away we go. Mick to our left. Decent run on Latifi. Gonna send it right up the inside. South second gear. Try and get out of it there. Got the inside for here. Try and go around the outside here. Kvyat's checked up massively there, had to back out the throttle, but we've got a good opening for a couple of corners. Got a good run here, but this corner's too quick to really make a move as we're struggling. Gonna go inside here. A little bit of contact, but managed to get away with it. Kvyat behind, up to 13th. It's a great result for the start of this race. It's an area where I've struggled massively. Slow speed understeer has been an absolute joke. And it'll be interesting to see where we can end up. I have no real relevance on where our pace is in comparison to the others. Kvyat's going to come super hard. I'm going to go defensive. I want to keep my track position. Get it stopped, turn in, nicely rotated. And all those upgrades I thought we'd have for this Grand Prix haven't arrived, so we're not really much better than we were at the last Grand Prix in China, which, as we know, we got a good result, but I struggled so much with the car, and this is going to be another one of those days by the looks of it, because I'm getting absolutely swamped here. I can't even keep up with Giovinazzi. I've had to use my ERS to try and get a bit of momentum. Understeer there. God knows what we're going to be like on the hard tyre. Bit of oversteer. Not a good start here. Kvyat's going to come. I'm going inside. As he's gone inside. Outbraked him. Because you can get the inside for the next left, you can kind of go around the outside there, and you can get away with it. ERS on, hoping I can gap Kvyat, and hopefully he's not as much of an idiot as his teammate Gasly, and I'll try and send one and hit us again. I have no front end. My front end is non-existent, even though I've been working on trying to get the front of this car better and better with the setup. Tried more camber, tried lowering the front, changing ride heights, changing wings. Oh, you're joking. How many times does an AlphaTauri want to hit us? Gazzy, you can get right out of it, mate. How many times do these two want to have contact with us? It's actually becoming a joke. Like, if they think that that's acceptable, oh my god. Kvyat going flying in. I don't understand what it is about that nature of corner that they just think it's acceptable to just fly in. At least it wasn't Gasly this time. But I don't know if that's worse. whether it's Kvyat, his teammate, getting revenge on having a crack at me as well. Did I do something to Kvyat in a previous lifetime that makes him think that that's okay? Oh, and again, he was going for it again there. Christ. I honestly don't know what to do about it. Like, I can't just pinch every corner and not drive properly. Like, I can't just drive to the fact that they're going to come flying up the inside of me, but this train is ginormous behind me. I've got to go to lap 12 on these tyres. Use of ERS out of there is really important. Oh, I've messed that up massively. Gonna have to go super defensive now. Use the ERS, and he'll have DRS as well.
Our gap to the car in front is 8.2 seconds.
I just understeered so wide. I don't understand why the balance of this car is so off. I ended up resetting it to try and understand. I changed so much on the car that I had to reset it back to standard and then go again because I'd got so lost with the setup.
Hitting this lap then, come into the pits at the end of this lap.
I'm going to box a lap earlier. I want to get us off these tyres as quickly as possible. This is not going well for me. Needed to do that. I couldn't stay on those tyres any longer. Wasn't working out. Onto the hards till the end of this race, but they're all going to be released now.
Go now.
What's going on with the front wing there? 6.7. Hang on. What is all that about? What are we doing there, lads? Why have I got a new front wing going on? Okay, well, apparently I had damage on the front wing, which I wasn't aware of. Which I suppose was probably contributing to the lack of pace, but I wasn't even aware it didn't come up on the MFD page, but oh well. We've lost a lot of time now, 4 seconds. The whole of that pack were within 4 seconds of me. Yeah. We'll get out ahead of Russell, but everyone else is ahead of us.
Caution, caution.
Someone's got a problem. Gasly. Engine failure by the looks of it. That's another free position. And we'll go about trying to catch Grosjean. Got out ahead of Mick and Latifi. Which is good. The car does feel better, so obviously that wing damage must have been hurting us quite a bit, but I just don't understand where it came from. I know we took a bit of contact, but it didn't come up on the little bottom right hand corner, but oh well. Surprised Kvyat wasn't out with us, to be honest with you, considering he smashed into us. Surely he had wing damage, so that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, but it is what it is, I suppose. But I do feel a lot better now I've changed tyres. Decent exit out of there, ERS on, and DRS. It's a shame this straight isn't longer. You kind of pull up to the back of someone, but you're never really going to catch them. We've got Kimi coming out the pits. Hopefully these two get messed up by each other. It's allowed us to get right onto the back of Grosjean now. I'll let Bottas come past, but I'll try and latch onto the back of him.
Manage your tyres.
And hope that Grosjean backs off enough for me to catch up a bit as Bottas goes past him. 5-second penalty. He's not come past me. I think blue flags in Formula 1, this is my opinion, are really stupid. It should be up to the leader to get past you. If they're that much quicker than you, like look how much I've got to back off. I've ruined my own race so that the leader could come through. How much more interesting would it be if the leader had to just get through, and it's up to the discretion of the driver there whether they want to let him past or not. Like, I've ruined my race here, and hopefully Grosjean backs off enough, but something for me personally that in Formula 1 that I think's a bit silly. It just ruins other people's races, when in reality, like, a Mercedes is so much quicker than me, it shouldn't really matter. I've got a 5-second penalty because I didn't slow right down and back off and let him through. He's in a Mercedes. I'm in one of the worst cars on the grid. That shouldn't really make much of a difference. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, because I think it should be up to the guy who's quicker to get past. I don't think it should be up to a flag or the stewards to say, oh, like, if he's not going to come past me, then he's not come past me. That's the end of it. And the moment Hamilton comes up to us, I'm going to have to do exactly the same. I don't want another penalty, because then that really will mess me up. I've got 16 seconds on Russell, luckily. I've got a blue flag, and look how far away he is. Like, I just don't get it. Like, once he's up onto the back of me properly, then I'll let him past. Fastest lap of my race. Fuel load's coming down as well. It's probably I'm driving a bit better. Grosjean gets a little bit taily on the exit there, makes a mistake. This is as close as we've been so far. Gonna lose a lot of aero through here. Gotta be really careful. Understeering. Same again through here. Half an opportunity here. Just can't get close enough. The Ferrari powered car, so much quicker in a straight line, and that braking zone at the end of the straight isn't long enough for me to make a lunge. You almost have to be right up the gearbox of the other car to actually make a move anywhere round here. I'll be honest, it'd be cool to see the cars drive around this really nice circuit, fast flowing, quick, but the race is probably going to be one of the most boring of the year in real life, because
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining.
you know, it's easier to overtake and follow on the game than it is in real life. You can imagine trying to follow someone in real life as we come to the end of the Grand Prix. Not a great result. Got lapped, had no pace.
We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
We've been 18th. It's not good. We need those upgrades to come as quick as possible. Giovinazzi, driver of the day. Not happy, to be honest. Mercedes celebrating again. Have won nearly every race this year so far, and it is what it is.
What do you think it was, Ant?
Valtteri Bottas, the race winner, celebrating, beating Lewis Hamilton. Caused us a 5-second penalty, which, in my opinion, is a bit of a joke, but rules are rules, I suppose. Not that I agree with them, but, you know, it is what it is. And Esteban Ocon with points for Renault. Decent result in that midfield battle for them. And we'll see the results now. Improved our podium pass up to level 10. New set of gloves, lovely. Union Jack vibes. And now up to level 12. The nice livery. Maybe we should throw that livery on. Might hopefully make us quicker. Should be nice. Valtteri Bottas, the winner from Hamilton, and Verstappen at his home Grand Prix. Ferrari doing a decent job there. Carlos Sainz and the two Renaults both getting points. P18 for us. The 5-second penalty didn't really matter. And Mick in 20th. Not the best result for us. These upgrades haven't come in time for this Grand Prix, and it really showed because we were struggling with balance and grip, and particularly on the front end. That's where I'd like to really focus on bringing those upgrades into the front to get the car into the corner. And if it's a bit oversteery, I don't mind that. I prefer that sort of car to an understeery car. I want to be able to get to the apex and drive out of the corner. So hopefully, coming into the next Grand Prix, we'll be able to do that. Highlights of the start and the rest of the race. I felt like we got a good run into turn 1. I was able to get off the line quite nicely after starting from last because of our grid penalties and the issues that I had previously. Right up the inside of quite a few, which was a good move. Up the inside, get it turned, and it was a nice move around the outside here as well. This is a tricky little right-left, but everyone's bunched up, managed to get around one of the Haas cars and follow Kvyat as we were going through. I managed to send one up the inside into here. Made a little bit of contact, but was okay. I wonder if that was where we picked up our wing damage. I was struggling so much for pace with this train of cars behind me. Pushed him to the inside, but you can roll around the outside into here. No contact made. Good defensive driving and try and drive out of the corner nicely on those soft compound tyres that I really struggled with. Making mistakes the whole way through. Had to defend from Gasly and try and attack Kvyat, which we was able to do, which was good, but that was the story of our day. Really struggling for grip and pace all around, really. Ran wide, taking out the bollards. Had to defend so hard. That was the story of the day. Just trying to defend as best as I could, but felt better on the hard tyre, I have to admit. Obviously, the wing damage may well have cost us a fair bit of time, but Gasly stopping on the side of the road with an engine problem. And you'd like to think he probably would have been quicker than us. And from then on, it was a bit of a procession. I couldn't get anywhere near Grosjean. I felt like we were doing the same times the whole way through the race. Never got close to him enough. And the braking zone at the end of the straight isn't long enough to make a move at all. So it was a bit of a boring race once we'd made that pit stop. I tried to get close, but unfortunately we didn't have the pace today. And hopefully we'll be able to bring a fair few upgrades to the next Grand Prix. P18 in the end. We'll have to take that as a miss, and hopefully the next one will be better.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
I'm going to go for there was no struggle. I pushed as hard as I could. I was pushing as hard as I could. There was a struggle, but none of the answers here really make sense for how the race actually went, so that's what I'm going to go for.
You're surpassing all expectations. Can anything or anyone stop you?
I'm going to help our aero package here. Without aero package, I don't think so. Hopefully that aero acclaim is going to go up. I'm going to be making those upgrades to our aero package. It's going to help us slow speed as well as high speed, and that's going to be so important heading into the next few Grand Prix. Do an aero team building, keep trying to boost them up, an R&D page, an R&D process, and the big aero package that we had coming has failed, and that is not good heading in to the Spanish Grand Prix. I'm going to spend a bit of cash. I'm going to increase our resource point generation for our aerodynamic side of the team. Look at that wind tunnel. It's probably the most basic wind tunnel you've ever seen in your life. So hopefully with that, we'll keep improving this side of the car with the chassis, because I think our engine's okay, but I'm really struggling for grip at the moment. So hopefully this is going to help us out, and we're going to spend 2 million on that. And looking at none of these upgrades are going to come for this Spanish Grand Prix, which is a massive shame. But if you look at our progress history, we're stagnating. Everyone else is improving a bit. For the next Grand Prix after that, which is Monaco, we'll have a decent car, but I feel like it's going to be another one damage limitation potentially in Spain. We'll have to wait and see how we go. I'll do a bit on the setup, and hopefully we'll have a good result. Thank you ever so much for watching. As always, please like and subscribe to the channel for more F1 2020 My Team content. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.